pre-match show of the Hero Indian Women's League, and today the defending champions Gokulam Kerala are taking on Orissa Police. And my name is Sohan Poddar, and in the studio I am joined by the technical director of the Indian national team and head of coach is education, Mr. Savio Madeira. Savio, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Sohan, and good afternoon to one and all.
And before getting into today's game, just a briefing on yesterday's three matches. Kickstart SSB Women's and Indian Arrows starting their campaign with a comfortable victory. Savio, your first impressions on those three teams?
I think it was a great start for the fifth edition of the Indian Women's League. And when you have a development side from Indian Arrows, I think that is a great start, like how our boys had. And as we know that they have gone on a step further, I think this step in the women in the right way for women to get attracted towards the game. And a good start, I would say, with 4-0 win on the champions of Goa, Servodem Sports Club. And the same I would say with SSB from Siliguri, the team from Bengal, who had a good outing, although they were down 2-0. But I think they made it up and had a great comeback. So overall, I would say the fifth edition of the Indian Women's League has a great start.
And Savio, with the under 17 Women's World Cup on the horizon, how important this tournament gonna be, especially for the younger players?
Yeah, I think the Indian Women's League, the year we started, that changed the perception in the country because there was no women's football being played. But slowly, when we started our first edition, I think then slowly girls in the school, in the villages, in the communities started playing. And as you rightly mentioned, the Women's World Cup, which is around the corner, I think this would be a great start, a great encouragement, motivation for the girls to look up to the game because they can see something up there where they start from, which was not there earlier. So I think it's a uh, great step for them to look for, great motivation, encouragement for them to look at the World Cup, which is around the corner.
So coming back to today's game, Savio, Gokulam Kerala are a very strong team. They won the Kerala Women's League recently. And Odisha Police, if you were the manager of Odisha Police, what would have been your message in the dressing room before facing a team like Gokulam Kerala?
Yeah, for me, as we know that Gokulam Kerala has got 9 of the national team players playing in the first 11, which is always difficult for the other team looking at the names on the paper. On the paper, it's strong. And it's not that it's only on the paper because recently they have given some very good results for the national team, which makes them really strong favorites to go ahead with the tournament. But as we all know, the way you prepare and the way you try to minimize mistakes on the given day can, the results can go on any side. So as if I was there as a manager of Odisha Police, I would talk to my team to stick to the basics, to contain some of the top players which are there in the team and try to see how best we can because on a given day anything can happen. And till the 90th minute, although the team of Gokulam Kerala is strong, till the 90th minute you cannot say what can happen unless we try to give up.
And Hero Indian Women's League, Savio, is pan-India now and will encourage the budding footballers to pursue this sport in their respective region. So your take on this?
I think, as I just said, that start of the Indian Women's League was a great start for us to go ahead because in being a diverse country with diverse cultures in our country, there are some states where they don't even think of allowing girls to go out play outdoors. They think girls should not play outdoors. But the perception of this women's league has changed. It has slowly starting in the schools also. Girls have started taking part in the game, which is a welcome step. And I hope from here it will only get bigger because very soon AFF is also going to put in slowly start with the club licensing criteria for clubs to have their women's team. So that is another welcome step which will help youngsters to look up to the game and to grow.
We have the lineups with us for today's game, Odisha Police and Gokulam Kerala. As we can see, Odisha Police have shaped up in a 4-5-1 with Sanjukta between the sticks, Shibani, Madhushmita, and Sumita, and Madhushmita Barik making up the back four. Your take, would like to ask you to throw some light on Odisha Police FC's formation.
Yeah, if you try to see Orissa formation of 1-4-5-1 with 5 in the midfield, which for sure you can see that they want to take control of the midfield, don't allow Gokulam Kerala to have it easy. But if you see the outcome of it, it will only depend on how they try to get themselves compact vertically and horizontally. Don't allow too much of gaps between the units. So that is what is important for them. Why is important? Because the experience what Gokulam Kerala has got with them is huge, which they have to have a lot of patience when they are trying to deal with Gokulam Kerala. So I think the best thing what Odisha Police has done is to have more numbers in the midfield, which to contain them and hope that thing works for them.
Coming back to Gokulam Kerala, their head coach Anthony Andrews have shaped the team up in 4-2-3-1 with Aditi Chauhan and all those stalwarts in the starting 11. Do you think Odisha Police is going to be overawed by the presence of those big players in the lineup?
For sure, yes, I would say because as I just mentioned, the two friendlies what the Indian women's team had with Jordan and the other one, they came out winners. So for sure, the team which is trying to face them, that is Odisha Police today, will try to look at the names, will try to look at the performances which they have put. But as I said, any performance, if you are not repeating it continuously and consistently, it can be damaging for you because Orissa Police will for sure prepare 3 times more than what Gokulam Kerala is because Gokulam Kerala are the winners of last year. They have done well in the AFC Club Champion Women's Club Championship, so they will be already prepared themselves. But Odisha Police for sure will prepare themselves more than what Gokulam Kerala is prepared. And if you try to see in the midfield, also Sohan, it's 1-4-2-3-1. So two defensive midfielders. They may be having wingers of 7 and 11. The one will be number 10. So it is almost equal in both the sides when it comes to midfield. So it's 5v5. So I think it will be a good game unless each one tries to minimize their mistakes and to see how best they can go ahead with the game.
And Winton is also going to be a very crucial player, the number 7 for Gokulam Kerala, and she is the top goal scorer in the Myanmar League and also in the on the last edition of the Kerala Women's League. She scored 32 goals and assisted 26. Savio Madeira, that's a ridiculous number.
Exactly. So when you have players like her, it's very, very difficult how to manage, how to take control. But only thing is what you can do is in situations, in moments of the game, and in parts of the field wherever she is dangerous, that is where you can maybe put double markings on her, try to see how much you can contain. But in the end, the quality is what she has, where you cannot just stop her from scoring, which she has already proved in the last edition.
So that brings us to the end of the pre-match show, and the players are getting ready to walk out as well. Thank you, Savio, for your time. And now we will go back to the commentary box. Live action coming up your way, only on Eurosport. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Sohan. Thank you very much for having me.
चल শোন টক ব্যাক কর এই গ্রাফিক্স ফেলতে বলো চল শোন পড়ছিস চল 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 বল
So Saturday brings us to match number 4 of the Hero Indian Women's League, where Odisha Police square off against the defending champions Gokulam Kerala at the Capital Ground in Bhubaneswar. And my name is Sohan Poddar and I will be calling the game this evening. And chance for either of these two teams to go level on points with the top 3 within a touching distance. This is the Odisha Police lineup. Lots of exciting names in there, but the big one is going to be Sumita, the number 11 in defense. They've got some exciting players on the bench as well in Sasmita Ekka and Jasmani Samad in case the manager decides to bring them on. And this is how Odisha Police have shaped up for this particular encounter in a 4-5-1 with Sangjukta, Shibani, Madhushmita Barik, Sumita and Madhushmita making up the back 4. Lochana Munda is going to be the holding midfielder, the number 12. Subhadra and Munika will have the license to go forward. And Sonia, Sarojini Tirke and Arti making up the front 3. And over to the Gokulam Kerala, they have shaped up in a 4-2-3-1. Aditi Chauhan, the number 1 is the big name, the Indian international. Jalima Chibar, Ratnan Bala Devi, Ashalata Devi, all big names in there for Gokulam Kerala. But Win Tan is going to be the player Gokulam Kerala will rest on for goals. She is the top goal scorer, as I have mentioned, in the Myanmar League. And also the second highest scorer and the most number of assists in the Kerala Women's League as well. What a dream run it has been for Gokulam Kerala since Anthony Andrews took over. He has come to the club and said, okay girls, we must attack. As we can see, Dangmei Grace returns to the 11 and her space manipulation will help the likes of Wintan, Soumya and Manisha. But Ashalata Devi is going to have that big leadership role at the back for Gokulam Kerala. And so what a lovely day, absolutely glorious weather as we welcome you to a football match of considerable significance, great consequence in this part of the country. And talking about this for a while, absolutely rolled up to it in fantastic numbers, rode outside the ground in hour or two, maybe up to it. It has been bumper to bumper. The traffic has been extraordinary, but the